mean, I get the points that you're talking about, but you're gonna have to guide. You're gonna have to guide it.
Because you can't.
I mean, I can. I'm just saying, like, that's your role right now. Is like you're my co-host.
You're my co-host.
Yo, you're my co-host.
No, I'm the host. You're the co-host. You're the vice president.
You ready for this? I'm ready for this. Let's do this. Just so dumb. All right, let's try it for real. Here we go.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? This is Grey-Purview podcast. I am your host, Anthony Rogers.
Co-host.
This is my
Co-host.
This is Grey-Purview podcast. I'm Anthony Rogers. I'm here with my lovely wife,
Morgan.
What's your last name?
Rogers.
And we're so glad to be doing. What is this? Is this our 6th episode?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're here and we're doing it, and we're back. And we're glad to be back. We just had a long day at the pool. And so I apologize if we seem or sound. I don't know what is up with my wife. Like, she seems like she's way more energetic than I am. Like, she's been going off.
I think I'm just delirious.
Yeah, I am not where you are. But anyway, enough about us. We're so glad that you're here. Like always, for those who are tuning in, this is your first time. Grey-Purview is a podcast where we talk about all the gray areas in life, or at least our life, whether that's marriage. We're black. I'm black. We're not black.
We're black. We're white.
I'm black. She's white. So our interracial marriage. We have, we're a blended family, which means that, I'm a stepfather. I don't have any children. I mean, I have a child, but ooh, man, it's going to be long. And then, but we talk about all the gray areas of our life. And so, stick with us. We journey through all kinds of things. We live a Christian lifestyle. And so we kind of tackle the issues from a Christian perspective. Is it, the best Christian perspective? I don't know, but it's ours. And so that's kind of how we go about this. And so basically what we do is we take a topic and we just beat it over the head and just kind of have a conversation about what we think about it. And you listen to it and you like it. If you don't, then you don't listen to it. But we thank everybody who has been listening, man. You guys have just been so just supportive and just watching and tuning in and letting us know. We always appreciate the viewership. And so if you want to be a part of, just this little community, you can like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. What do you mean?
No, on YouTube or
oh yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast, I think you can also subscribe from the podcast too. And then one of the things we want to do is just kind of let it be known that there are 2 mediums. So if you're on YouTube, know that if you're driving somewhere, you don't want to be watching the videos, so you can check out the podcast. And if you're listening on the podcast, most times we include the video link in the description. And so, so that's that. But without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host as she introduces our topic for the day.
Topic is our personalities are different, and can we get along? How do you deal with conflict with personalities in a relationship or in a marriage?
All right.
Do you have to have the same personality, or can you have different ones, and can it be successful with very different personalities?
I used to have the thought that if I was ever going to be with someone, they needed to be exactly like me. As I've started to learn myself, I've learned how exhausting that would become. Because I feel like we would just be in constant competition. And like, I'm loud, and so this would just be a super loud house. And it would, I don't know. And so
Do you know anybody that has the same personality as you and that you are like friends with or in relationship with in any way?
No. I know I have friends that like we get along well and like, you know, we can like laugh and all that stuff like that, but I don't know if like I have friends that are like male or female that are like me. And that's not even on some like unique stuff. I just think that I mean, I am beautifully and wonderfully made, but it's not even on some unique stuff. It's just more on I don't know. I don't know that people that are like me are attracted to people that are like me. Cause I mean, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that.
I mean, okay, so your personality is very outgoing in public. And you're like super fun and happy and joyful and smiling all the time and very welcoming
In public.
in public. And I'm not that way.
You don't think you're that way? You don't
Super outgoing.
Oh, no, you're not outgoing. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it
Okay,
like that.
tell me what way I am.
No, I didn't mean that. Well,
I described you. So
okay, I'm
describe
gonna
me.
go. Okay, sheesh, chill. Okay, so, you are very analytical, and so, I don't like.
just listening.
No, you're not. You're making noises. So you're very analytical, and I think that when you make a close friend, that they are friends for life. I think that you are deeply passionate and caring. I think that as opposed to being like in awe of everything, you are like you find something that you like and then you exhaust that resource. And then you know, and you find out everything that there is to know about it. And then I think once you've found the depths of knowledge of it, you get
I'm
bored
done.
with it
Yeah.
and move on to something else. Which makes it fun for me because like I get to travel to new things with you. I just don't dive deep. I like just the residual, you know, effect of what you find. But I think you're very much like that. I think that you have a heart for the underdog. And so I think that, and I think, you know, I think we both do, but I feel like you kind of live it way more than I do. I mean, not even just like because you're a criminal defense attorney, but just like, you know, it's just like your heart, man. It's just like, it's so, you know, big, but you're also very like stern and like you're also somebody that like if you're a swindler, this is not the one that you want to try to swindle because she's already thinking you're a swindler, even if you aren't.
Oh.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like you've already analyzed this person up and down, and so like you're already like on guard, and so
Well, when we first met, I think it seemed as if our personalities were really similar.
Yeah, well, I mean, we liked some of the same things. We liked going to the same places as far as like food and like
Well, we interacted in groups similarly.
yeah, we entered yeah, exactly. And you're very like I mean because you're opinionated and like thoughtful about things in groups, it seemed as if you were extroverted on some level because you were not afraid to ask the questions that you asked. And so like you know, like the motive for asking the questions for both of us came out of different places, but on the, you know, but on the inside, but on the outside, it appeared the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe you're asking a question because you're trying to get the information about what it is, and I'm asking a question to spur on group dialogue. So that way we're all talking about this interesting topic. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, but the residual effect is we both asked a question, so it looks like, oh well, she must be
interesting
interesting like
and
me.
Look, they're both interesting.
Yeah, but I also think like we joked and stuff like that. I think we have like that's probably one of our biggest like similarities is like our sense of humor and stuff like that. Like we love to laugh, and so he's smiling at me like that for us. Weird, but yeah, and so. Yeah, so I mean, I think that was, but I mean, as far as who you are, that's kind of my synopsis. What do you think? You think I did good?
I mean, yeah, I think that we are a lot more different than I think we thought.
Yeah, but I think that became, I mean, that's, you know, us having to learn each other and all that other stuff. But it wasn't easy. Like, so like, what did you like? When did you start to notice that I wasn't who you thought I was? I mean, and like, not like,
What, you don't want me to tell a lot of things?
I'm not saying not. Oh my
Oh.
God, you're so dumb. No, I'm just saying like when you were just like, oh dang, like this is a lot different than what I thought his personality was. Like for instance, like if I come off as extroverted and everything like that, and that's what you see, and then the reality after being married, like what do you see?
Well, I mean, you're like baiting me, I feel like, into
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very specific
yeah, well,
answer.
yeah. I want you to pull
Like,
right into that dock.
you are not as people oriented as you seem.
Mm-hmm.
So like you come off like the life of the party, and that you where's the party at? You always want to be a part of it, and you always want to be around people, which I think is true. You do want to be around people, but not for the sake of being around people.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be you don't want to miss out on some benefit of like, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like an experience. You want to make sure you're a part of the experience with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily about like the being surrounded by people necessarily.
No, I mean that's.
And so at home, I realized that you actually like to be alone a lot.
Yeah. But it's like, unless you lived with me, you wouldn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because all you get to experience is me being around. And when I'm around, I'm that person. Whereas it's like, I'm not like alone somewhere in a closet. And you're like, where's Anthony at?
Well, but I think people, I mean, how would anybody know if somebody was an introvert? Because they don't come out a lot. They prefer to be at home, or they prefer to not be in large groups. But that's not what you appear. You appear to really enjoy, like you get energy from being around a lot of people.
Okay. I think that's true. Yeah, I do think that's true. And so I would just wonder, like, where do you think there are things that I thought about you that weren't?
You thought I was a lot more like fun, I think. And you're disappointed.
Well, I also think that I didn't like some of like, I felt like you have the potential, not to the potential to be fun. Like I felt like you were fun, but it was just like, I felt like you were like holding back. And so it was like, but I didn't, I wasn't like equating like you're a mother and like, you know what I'm saying? Because when I'm first coming into the situation, I'm young and vibrant and,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like that.
Right.
Let's go do,
Yeah.
let's go. And so I'm like,
Right.
we're not getting back into that. I'm just saying, that's not even what I was saying. I was saying that I was just like, just like, hey, like, like, let's go do this. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And, and that wasn't always the case.
But that caused, I think, some doubts initially whenever we got married, not on my end, but on your end, where it was like, did I pick wrong? Like, this isn't going to work because you're not what I thought I was, and you're not what I want, I don't think.
Yeah, it did cause a lot of ripples, a lot of
Waves.
a lot of waves, a lot of tidal waves. Yeah, well, and I think, it's just like, the thing about it too is it's like you really don't ever really know who you are with for a long time, because I feel like it's as long as like I feel like the person can put up their representative. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were meeting me, I wanted you to meet my best self.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the same is true for you, but I feel like that's.
I mean, yeah, I was like nicer.
Yeah, you're nicer, but but you wanted to meet their best self, and so it was just and I think that you can only keep that energy for so long, or what I'm saying, or like if I'm not living here and going back home, then I can give you my best self when I'm here, and then go home.
Oh yeah, but then when you're around somebody, you can't keep that up.
Yeah, no, it's
eventually
too much. It's like, okay, all right, I got to just say what I got to say. But what I will say is one of the things that I think helped with kind of learning our personalities was the Enneagram. And so I don't know if, sorry, I'm trying to be more lively. I don't know.
The Enneagram.
With the Enneagram, I I don't know if you I don't know if you've heard of the Enneagram if you're watching this, but basically what the Enneagram is that it breaks personalities down into 9 types, 1 through 9, and each type means something different. There is a test that you can take to basically see what your personality type is, and
It's free. Well, there are
there
free
are free
ones.
ones, yeah, and they're pretty good for the free ones, but and I mean, and it's not like a Myers-Briggs or like a Berkman test or something like that in the sense of it's like, once you get this, this is exactly what it is. It's more of like,
Well, this is who you are, and you're stuck, and this is who you are.
right,
And that's just what you are, and you're never going to change.
right. It mostly focuses on your motivations, as far as like what motivates you and like to do what you do, as opposed to like I don't know if
Behavior.
but it's more of like the motivation behind the behavior. It's been very helpful in our marriage, and it's also been very helpful in us being able to have words to put to how we feel and just kind of understanding. So we'll put information for the Enneagram in the description of both the podcast and YouTube. Excuse me, but I think that helps. And so, like I said, there's 9 types. And if you know about the Enneagram, then you know about it. And so my wife is a 1, and you want to kind of talk about what the 1 is, what it means to be a 1.
So a 1 personality is the perfectionist or like the improver. So, I am always trying to make something better. Like every time I walk into a room, I see how I can improve it, or every time I see a person, I see how I can improve that person. And I don't have this as much as I think of most ones do, but an inner critic that is constantly like telling you something negative about yourself, which I think every person I think has that a little bit, but a 1 has it to the point where you kind of terrorize yourself with your failures. And a 1 also really desires to be good and to be right and to be moral and just and to fight for like justice in the world. And is I think kind of known as a rule follower in a way, although I don't think that I am that way.
You don't think you're a rule follower?
No, because I'm always like, well, why? Why do I have to do that?
I mean, that's true. I think that you're not completely a rule follower, but I think that like you're observant to rules, and if you agree with the rule, then you will make sure everyone is following the rule.
Yeah, with a 1, things are very much black and white.
But this is Grey-Purview.
Right, which is what I've had to grow into. But it's like there's only one way of looking at things, and this is the right way, and that's how a 1 thinks. Where there are 9 personality types, though, and the Enneagram shows that there are actually at least 9 different ways of viewing the world, and there isn't just one right way.
Right. And so that's the synopsis of a 1. I'm a 7. And you'll be able to know that I'm a 7 by how little of what she did I'm not going to do. I'm saying as far as like giving a huge description.
Wow. Okay. But you can open up with a long description for about 5 minutes. Talking about what we talk about every time.
Anyway, I'm a 7. And basically, what is the 7? A 7 is like it's not what is it?
Like the short
enthusiast.
Name? Yeah, the enthusiast.
Yeah. Is it something like that? See, so we're still...
I don't remember that's what it's called. I guess that is what it's called.
It is the enthusiast, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and so basically the 7 is kind of like... most 7s are extroverts. I mean, they're believed to be extroverts or appear to be extroverts. They're kind of like the person that is like... it's like...
It's like super fun and great and joyous and everybody loves.
Yeah, it's like I don't... It's weird.
How do you talk about it?
Yeah, how do you talk about it without sounding like a... Yeah, and so 7s is pretty much the greatest person in the world, and like it's the person that everybody wants to be around.
Everybody loves a 7.
Everybody wants them to be around, and yeah, but it's like kind of like the life of the party. You can bring joy, the optimist. They can bring all kinds of things, but the downfall to it is more, or I would say like the weakness is like never feeling fulfilled. So there always feels like there's a constant hole And so feeling like they can get more out of life and stuff like that. There's some studies that show like sevens are more likely to be divorced and stuff like that because
Yeah, they are.
oh my God, because they like constantly are looking to be fulfilled and all those other things. And so, that's, I mean, so an unhealthy seven will look for that in other places. One of the things that we enjoy about the Enneagram is that it's Christian based, I would say. And so like there are a lot of resources that allow you to, do your personality type and then and then actually like find scripture and stuff like that that speaks to some of the weaknesses or uh I would say what wrong motivations that we may have in our types. And so the Enneagram has definitely been something that has allowed us to work well through our personality differences. And so for instance, like with her being super analytical and like rule following and stuff like that, it kind of allows me to see where if there is a situation where she's coming from, with that situation and everything like that. So I can, kind of basically put myself in her shoes on some level and kind of think through why she would do that. And the other great thing about the Enneagram is that they have a bunch of great resources about how personality types integrate with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the issues that you'll have within your personality types.
Yeah. And so that's been great. I think the other great tool that we've used to work through the differences in our personality is the love language, or is it is or are the love languages? Let's just say is the love language.
Are the love languages.
Are the love languages. Okay.
So everybody has a different love language. That is the dominant, I guess, love language.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way that you receive love. So we learned a couple years into the marriage that he was doing things that he was expressing love to me, but I wasn't receiving it because that's not the way that I receive love.
Right.
So he is physical. He likes physical touch and he likes words of affirmation.
It's words of affirmation than physical, but you're right. Those are the two things.
So he would give me words of affirmation all the time, and that doesn't do anything for me.
So, for those who don't know what love languages are, there are 5 different types of love language. Like my wife said, that it's the way that you receive love. And so you have physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, Quality time. So obviously
he don't care about quality time. That's why he don't remember it. That's my number 1. He doesn't care about it, which I think is the most superficial thing ever. Because it's like I feel like if you don't spend time with somebody, I love you, but I don't ever see you. I don't spend time with you.
Like so, the Enneagram is like we do well with love languages. We are struggling.
It's hard for me to understand his love language,
and it's in the same way as it is for me. So like. For me, quality time is the probably
least important.
The thing. Least important, so in the lineup or the percentages right out of 100, like acts of service, and it was words of affirmation, acts of service, then physical touch. That were like my top 3.
Wait, words of affirmation was first?
Words of affirmation.
So you want to be told you're awesome, you're great, you look so good today, you're so smart. Like, I love everything you do in the house. And
that I love you and that you're the best and you're the best husband ever.
Right.
And that if I ever had any other husband, I would always talk to them about you.
I would hate it. I would hate anybody else. I would just be miserable.
You're not like my other husband. That would be affirming. That would be affirming.
But that's what he wants all the time. And he wants this. He wants me to touch. I'm touching him on his face.
And acts of service.
Oh, yeah.
You just want to touch
acts of service.
me.
So he wants me to make him lunch and pack it for him.
Can you stop saying it like
what? I'm just saying what it is.
And he wants me to make him lunch, ladies. I'm
saying that's what you like. You like acts of service. You want me to pick up after you and
No, that's not what that means.
You want me to do things for you that are helpful. So pick up your medicine from the store and bring it to you, or
and me not asking
right.
for you hey, can you pick up my medicine? Is more of hey, I know that you need your medicine. I went and picked it up for you, that type of stuff.
But that kind of stuff, don't do it for me.
Yeah, and so like one of the things you see with love languages, this is awesome because if you don't know anything about love languages, this will literally revolutionize your life and the way that you think about it, not just in your marital relationships, but just
Anybody.
I mean, your children,
Parent.
parents, everything. When you know the way that they receive love, it gives you language and ability to act in a way that they do, and so
Well, and they actually feel loved by what you're doing,
right. And
which
so
is the goal.
right. And so one of the things that I was doing wrong is that because I receive love in like acts of services and words of affirmation, I give those things to my wife all the time
And he assumed that is what I want too.
because that was the way I received it. And so that was my way of telling her that I loved her, but she was never received it as it was the way that I loved her. It was just I don't know what to receive it as. If
I
it's
didn't. I just thought you were like cleaning up after yourself.
it's so stupid.
I did the dishes.
It's like
I thought you were just like being an
just
adult.
I was waiting for her. Wow,
I'm sorry.
So much shade. Oh wow, but I don't even
I mean,
know.
not to say that that's not. I mean, obviously people receive love that way. I'm telling you honestly. That's what I thought. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry that upsets you, but I'm being honest.
All right, my bad. So anyway, this episode gonna be short. Where
are we at?
But yeah, but yeah, so I would do things for her that you know.
And I would want to spend time with you. And what's my second one? Quality time is my first.
Quality time is your first. Was it physical touch? Because it wasn't gifts and it wasn't acts of service and it wasn't words of affirmation was like your
last.
Yeah, and then gifts was like right before that, and then yeah, it was physical touch.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not like, come on, y'all, it's not like, ooh, I'm gonna physically touch you. It's not. Yeah, I think ready to like, ooh, her physical touch. I'm down with that. It's not like that. It's like holding hands or like embracing her, giving her a little kiss on the cheek and stuff like that. Like I hug her so much now, not because of physical touch. I just love her, but it's just like.
Well, and I think that's also one way that it makes you feel connected as well.
Yeah, that's my third. But it's like, so it's like holding hands or just a gentle brush or, or like tapping her on the butt.
But mostly quality time is mine. So like watching a show where we're talking about the show together or talking about our day. This is quality time what we're doing right now.
Right. And which is why I love this because it allows me to let her know that I love her. But it's just made it better. But I'm glad you said the thing you said about the show because I used to think that like if I sat and watched 15 episodes with you on Netflix, like we spent time together, but because we didn't talk about it, it wasn't quality. And if you know me, that is my biggest pet peeve. Like
talking during.
Yes, talking during, and like remember, like
you talk so much during shows for that to be your pet peeve.
I don't. What?
What?
I talk during shows.
You talk during the movies.
That is not. Oh.
It's true. I'm sorry.
So that is not true. All the time. You're gonna whisper it. No. I mean, maybe sometimes. But anyway, but that just to clarify, like, so it wasn't just watching.
So when we pause a show and talk about
that doesn't annoy me. It's when you're talking
over the show,
and I'm like,
yeah,
that's
annoying.
I
do it. But if I'm talking, it doesn't bother me.
I bet.
It bothers me when other people
And then it's
do
like, and so anyway, but I've learned that like talking about the show and stuff like that matters and it makes it feel. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Like I'm not by any means a guru at quality time. It's literally my lowest love language. Like,
and I just think that is so weird.
It's not.
I don't get it. I genuinely thought that everybody wanted to spend time with the person that they're with.
That sounds so dumb. No, not because of that.
How is that? Like that is so hard for me to comprehend.
Like
that's not like what everybody wants. Like if you like somebody, don't you want to be around them?
Yeah, but you want to be around them and talk.
Oh.
Like I'm not saying about this.
So you want to be around somebody and not talk.
Like I'm okay with you being in the room and me being here.
And how do you like get to know somebody or like talk? Or how do you? Obviously, you don't talk about things.
I mean, maybe important. just because it's not my highest doesn't mean that like there's no conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just like I don't need it to survive. Like I just think that well, and so one of the things that you also learn about love languages is that love languages come like your strongest love language most times come out of the way that from like childhood and stuff like that. Like it has something to do with like the way either
Your
the way you
caregiver.
wanted, yeah, like whoever your caregiver was and stuff like that, and either
So
the
whether
way
you're
that
lacking it or
lacking it
whether
or
you got
got
it.
it exactly. And so and I, you know, I don't need to get into why my words of affirmation and stuff like that because my mom listens to the podcast. But you know, that was you know, but that was just always kind of my thing. And not that I lacked it. I think it's because like on some level, you know, when you're a kid who's like young and you sing and stuff like that,
You want to be
you
told
get
that
that
you're
like, yo,
doing
you're
well.
good and you this is that and the other. And I think that you know, I think it changed. Like I don't necessarily feel loved when I'm applauded for my talents. I mean, I do on some level, but like it's another thing when it's like when it comes from my wife, it's different. It's not the
Mm.
same as like you know when your wife is like seeing your dirty draws and stuff like that,
Oh,
and they can still say nice things about you. Like
yeah, that's love.
that's that's love. And so, but I think that I mean they're everything that it takes to I mean, like the love languages is one of the ways, another way that we've used to kind of grow closer to each other. And I think that that's, you know, ultimately, you know, if the question is, can I um, get along with my spouse with our different personalities? My question would be like, have you even really tried to learn your spouse's personality? I feel like where I messed up and had to learn is that I was trying to make my wife become me, and arguably she would probably say that I do that still to some degree, but
I don't think so.
you don't. Oh, well, that's good. But but I was trying to make her be me and view the world through my eyes, and you know, and be loved how I want, and trying to force like you know making her feel like there's something wrong with her because she don't
Not almost.
making her feel like there's something wrong with her because she don't feel like she's loved like you know like her way of loving and expressing and stuff like that is correct,
Wrong
yeah,
or
or like yeah it's wrong,
yeah.
and it's only because I don't understand it, and so it's easier for me to dismiss it and say that she's wrong for thinking that way as opposed to thinking that she's a whole human being who could have a whole different setup. And I think it just speaks to the testament of God and just how wonderfully and uniquely He creates us.
And I honestly think that it's possible for any personality to have a successful relationship with any personality. I really think that. I think that if you are open and willing to learn from the other person and the other person is willing to do the same, then I think you can make anything work. Because it's just like I don't have to be you. I
Right.
can love how you are and appreciate the way that you are and understand why you're the way that you are. And you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of draw me more into being more like you in some ways
Mm-hmm.
and me not being stuck in like, oh, this is the way that I am and that's just the way that I am.
Right.
I mean, you draw things out of me that I mean, that weren't there before or
Right.
that I wasn't comfortable expressing before. And so I think that if people are open and really intentional about understanding their partner, I think that any personality can be successful with any personality.
I don't disagree with that. I think that it just takes a great deal of work. And I also think it's not just about knowing the other person, but it's really about knowing yourself too. Like, if you don't understand how you like really understand, like, I mean, like sometimes people just be like, nah, I know that I'm this way and I know it, and they don't really be knowing. And so it's just like, I really feel like, I really feel like you really do need to, you know, do the test on yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Don't just take it for the purpose of you know, which is weird because most people do take it for the purpose of like
Learning themselves.
learning themselves. But you know, but in this scenario, because we've only been talking about how to do those things in a relationship, I would also say it's equally as important for you to learn yourself and see, you know, the similarities in your unhealthy spots and all those other things. I think it has specifically helped us grow and stuff like that, just in dealing with things that go on in the world and just like how just kind of crazy things are. And so like it allows us kind of a safe space to know how to talk about those things with each other. I mean, would you say that that's true?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from in your opinion when something happens in the world that is jarring. And you can also understand where I'm coming from in my opinion on it.
Right. And so, like, we definitely want to talk about, I mean, we're not going to talk about the full thing just because I think it's still fresh and raw. And I don't know that we can have that conversation like in depth here, just because there's a bunch of things and it's already very long. But, um, what I will say is just, like the stuff with, is it James Blake? No, Jacob Blake. Well, James Blake is the musician. Jacob Blake, and just like everything that happened with
In Kenosha
that,
after.
and yeah, and just like and just tragic and everything that's been happening in the world since Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and I mean the list goes on. I mean that's just in 2020, and and she's had to see me in very hurt states, and so knowing how to love me through that as a black man has been, I mean, crucial, to know how to do that because, I think that sometimes it's harder to understand like all of what it means to be black in America. Um, but the fact that you can be loved still matters. And I think there's a great amount of empathy that it takes to be able to do that. And so like, she was just like giving me gifts and that's not my love language. I'm just like, what the heck is you doing? You know?
Hmm.
I mean, but what do you have anything else to say?
Well, I think that understanding each other's personalities helps us just understand why we take certain positions on things or like
Yeah.
why we get so, I don't know, in one zone when it comes to something like this coming up in the world. So, like, my default is, um, I mean, as a one on the Enneagram, I'm like always seeking justice and truth and for goodness. And so I'm very like, people need to change, people
Mm-hmm.
need to stop. And it's so obvious what's right. And I don't understand why people are not just doing the right thing.
Right.
And whereas you come from with your personality, you have that same desire for that goal to be reached,
Mm-hmm.
but you go about getting there in a different way.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like more harsh and like
Militant.
yeah, and you're more gentle and
Want to see healing, and not that you don't want to see healing.
yeah, which my goal is that there's healing.
Right.
But the way that I'm just like, this is what's right, just act right. Like,
Right.
care about other people, be kind to other people. And
And I
it's
think there's
so
a
obvious.
sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I'm done now.
But I think there's a need for both. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that there's a need for both of those things, which is why I think we work well together and we you know, I mean we do things and we get equally upset and angry about those things that are happening. And kind of work our way not necessarily out of it but through it and like figuring out how we're going to take action. And because my wife is analytical and all these other things, like she finds the ways that we can participate in helping to move the situation and move towards change and stuff like that. And then for me, I'm just a big advocate of grace, but also just like you know empowering. And so like figuring out how to empower the movement by speaking words of life into it. And so we work super great together as a team. But if you are in a relationship with someone that you think y'all's personalities just don't mesh, I mean, and not to say that you're not working at it, but hopefully we've provided some tools. All of this information as far as the Enneagram and love languages will be in the description of both the podcast and YouTube. So if you're listening to this, just whenever you're done driving, hopefully, or whatever you're doing, you can click out of this podcast, look into the description and stuff like that. And there'll be links to it on YouTube. We'll have links in the description and you can check those out. While you're at it, you can also follow us on our social medias. We still don't have a Grey-Purview social media, and we probably won't for a while. Um, But you can still follow us individually. We want to hear from you. We love to hear your questions. People been DMing me. Have people DM'd you?
No.
So you make sure you DM my
Because you're
wife.
a 7.
But you could. I mean, listen. This is the only opportunity that you'll get to DM my wife. If it's not about Grey-Purview, then I suggest you stay out. But if it is about Grey-Purview, you can follow my wife on Instagram at
She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer on Instagram. And then after you've DM'd my wife, you can DM me to let me know that you've DM'd my wife on my Instagram, which is why did I get here? You follow me on my Instagram at whoisanthony. Or you can follow me. I mean, not or, and you can follow me. I was kidding. On my Twitter at whoisanthonyr. Please subscribe. Your subscriptions mean so much, and you'll be the first people to get these videos and this content and all this other stuff. I also do music, and so if you're here for the music, some of that's coming here also. But yeah, so I mean, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We definitely enjoyed making it for you. Until next time, I have been Anthony Rogers and my wife,
Morgan Rogers.
Hey, and we will see you next week. Bye.